and Kennedy's games, look how many contested possessions they had.
None.
Like 0.
I know.
Like 6,
Yeah.
4 and 6 or something.
Are we live?
I just said we're live.
Oh.
Before.
Okay. Well, we're unprepared.
Yeah, as you can tell from the intro, we haven't done anything but talk footy. Usually we talk some other shit, but fuck,
Well, Lockie Neal scored us 180.
in Supercoach. I don't think it was 180. I think
It was.
Was it 180
now? 180.
That's good.
Monster.
I've had a big week. I think I had 2,500 this week again.
I didn't.
Back to back. Yeah. What was I going to say? I don't know what I was going to say. Oh, yeah. Dose of old school therapy on this podcast tonight, I reckon. It's been a while since about to do this. I feel like it's been forever.
It's good.
I feel like
It's not good, but
I'm still pretty calm.
Yeah, I'm calm.
Yeah.
We're all calm. You can tell we're all calm.
you've rattled us with going live. I'm not in the
There
zone.
was one person that wasn't calm last night at the dinner.
S.
Casado. He'll be watching too. I said I'll give you a shout out. Anyway,
He lost it at the end.
Thanks. Let's get into this.
1, 2, 3, 4.
That's our moment. We finally, as a generation, we can hang our hat on a genuine moment.
Honestly, we are a force because of the intensity that we play at is just next level.
We want to be here. We want to impact finals. And it's one thing of obviously saying it, but we just lived it.
The couch.
Welcome everyone to episode 134 of the Almost Blues Brothers podcast, part of the Blue Broad Media Network and proudly powered in 2024 by Image Online Studios here in Abbotsford that we record out of every week. They do obviously the podcast studio, live calling, jingles, voiceovers, whatever you need. So if you need any of that for your business, Image Online in Abbotsford. Boys, before all of that, Dan, we'll start with you. Still on baby watch tonight.
Still on baby watch. Yeah.
It's been the longest saga ever.
It's been a few weeks. I feel like as if I messaged you like what?
You mentioned me
every day.
8 times this week.
Yeah.
Easy.
Yeah.
And what about when I walked in? Jules like, is the baby here yet or
Yeah,
what?
what's going
on? Nah, still no. Otherwise, I don't think I'd be out. We're hoping. Well, I'm hoping it's now. It's at that point. It's at that point. I'm genuinely hoping it's now.
What's your battery at tonight?
Nah, full.
Sorry.
Yeah. You learn from your mistakes. Yeah, I don't know what to say. Everyone's asking me all the time, is the baby here? I rock up to my clients, they're like, why are you here? Well, clearly there's no baby yet. But I think it's just kicking. I think it realizes it's cold outside and just wants to stay in the womb. I think it just wants to stay in the womb. Smart baby, in my opinion.
No, well, she's only just passed the due date over the last couple of days. Is that right?
Yeah, and she has a theory that technically her due date is today. So she, based on when she thinks we would have fell pregnant, she thinks today's like the actual due date. So the nurse has got it wrong.
Got it wrong.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they're not 100%.
No,
anyway.
never.
No.
So
So she's claiming it's today.
I had this argument with my dad at the footy the other week about due dates. Were you there
what was this?
at the footy?
Which game was this?
No, it was before you came. He reckons the due date is the due date. He goes, they always give a due date. There's a due date. I go, and we're trying to tell him, well, they give a due date, but
As a rough
it's
estimation.
clearly just an estimate. He goes, nah. He goes, back in my day,
It's a
that
couple
was
of
the due
weeks.
date.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And did you have a word with your mum about it? Like in terms of like when you were due or Lauren was due?
Yeah, no, I was 2 weeks over, and
Yeah.
my sister was 2 weeks prior.
Were you 2 weeks over? Oh, that makes me feel better. I actually, because you turned out all right.
Apparently the thing is, apparently the first. That's actually nice. You said that about me. Apparently the first kid usually goes over.
Apparently.
Is what I've
Yeah,
heard.
that's what I heard too.
Yeah.
Well, Bianca went over.
That's right. Yeah.
That's right. It's a weird feeling, boys, because you can't actually I can't forward plan anything at the moment. So you're sort of just waiting for this one thing that you don't know when is actually going to happen. It's like going on a holiday and you've booked a holiday and you know when it is. This you don't know.
John Holden said this baby watch is longer than Johnny Farnham's farewell tour. That's gone for about 50 years, I think.
Baby watch is longer than Carlton's streak for the premiership.
And James says, is it hot in that studio or is it cold? Very extreme sets of clothes. Got Jules in a sleeping bag again. Dan the hoodie and I'm in a t-shirt.
And I'm in shorts.
Who
I don't know.
knows?
I'm feeling cold.
I'm
I
all right.
actually feel all right.
I'm
tonight. I
comfortable,
feel
yeah.
good tonight. It's cold outside, but it's all right. Yeah. Jules, what happened on over the weekend? We didn't see you.
Not much, to be honest with you. Went to go get a haircut Friday, as you're aware. You saw.
Show the listeners. Show.
It's
Oh,
good
that's
haircut. No,
nice.
you got to turn around because you got rid of the mullet, the shit mullet that you had.
I didn't have a mullet.
Oh, of
No,
course.
it's definitely shorter.
Would you
It's
call
definitely
it
shorter.
Would you
That's
call
nice.
Would you call it like a mullet? Almost?
Bed hair.
Yeah. Looks nice. It's sharp. It's good.
It looks sharp.
Is that how you're going to have it for the wedding, Payson?
No, it's-
You can't. You
we'll
can tell
we'll
us.
See. We'll see.
I guess they're not really telling us.
Hey, I leave in 5 weeks, boys.
See ya.
Yes.
And you don't come back?
6 weeks, sorry. Hold on,
fuck.
five.
Thank God.
Well, mean you can do it.
We've got 5 more episodes in this studio for the year. Well, not for the year,
5?
not for the year, but yeah, 5 more. Because then I'm overseas and it's streaming.
And then finals.
Could be ever if one of the listeners don't get Image Online a client. So someone contact Image Online,
Give him something.
please.
But yeah, actually, that's a good one for the listeners. We're in here for another 5. I think it's 5 more episodes, and then it'll be StreamYard. There'll be some pre-recording done throughout the final series because obviously we're in Europe. We won't be able to really marry up the times to do a live on a Sunday, but we'll do a pre-record. It'll still be released on a
Well, we
Sunday. but-
arrive on the Saturday, depending on. That's the first final.
So
isn't
I
it,
think
when we
that
arrive?
I think when we're in Madrid together that first week,
That's first finals.
um,
That's first
What
finals.
time would
Yeah.
it be? Will
Well,
we make the? Will we
or
watch
is that the week? No, I think that's the week of the break. That's the week of the break.
you sure?
Pre-finals bye. Actually, no,
The
sorry,
6th?
that's
No,
week
it's
1
not.
of finals.
It's the
It
week
is.
of the finals.
It is.
man.
So
Yeah.
we will do a live one together. I'm gonna have a GoPro. I'm gonna maybe try and bring the tripod as well in a hotel room in Madrid. We'll try and do a live show from Madrid together. After that, we don't know what it's gonna look like. So, but we'll
It
make
could be a
sure we
disaster.
we'll make sure we try and get some episodes out throughout that final series.
Yeah, and Joe,
Oh, thanks.
how's your
It's
weekend?
fine. I was with you yesterday. My dad and mum put
Yeah,
on a brilliant feast at their house.
What was the feast? What
Oh,
was it?
Jules, it was a joke.
So dad cooked, put the
Barbecue.
barbie on, obviously, as always does. But then he's got the
The wood fire, like the
he's
chimney.
got the Canara, the chimney,
Yeah.
and he's got a wood fire
Pizza.
pizza oven for the top of that. And it's just
He
how
had
many
him
pizzas?
churning all night.
Would have been 10,
Probably, yeah.
about 10, and then all the meat and whatnot. Yeah, they did well. They did very
No,
well.
actually did. Yeah, it was good for
You said today, if there's one thing my parents know how to do,
host.
Yeah.
Like really good.
really well.
Yeah.
So
And actually, we need to have a night, and bought this bottle of red. Do you like it?
yeah,
That
I've
bottle
had
of
it before. My sister had that at
from
her
a Brooks or
engagement.
Jules.
Yeah.
You'd love it.
It's good.
It's
Yeah.
very nice.
Smooth
It's
as.
a good one. I can't remember what the name of it is.
It's
but
not a
very nice.
Shiraz, but it was like it had a bit of body. Hey,
It's a Montepulciano.
Okay.
I believe is what it's called.
I'm on Tijana.
I think it is.
I'm on the.
Anyway. All right. Well, I guess without any further ado,
Let's get into it.
Hey, listen. Why he's laughing? No. We're going to do the match report. But listen, we've got 80-something listeners at the moment. Tell your friends to tell their friends to tell their friends and their cousins that we're on at 7 on a Sunday.
Well, I like to say each week.
Unless told otherwise.
Unless look at our Instagram page for otherwise.
I reckon I've told people most weeks we don't do this for the listens or the views. We do it because we enjoy it. But Dan,
Oh, I do.
definitely
I'm a
does it
numbers
for the
man.
I
views.
think I just
You do.
sparked
I'm a numbers man.
While we're on that, if you are here live watching, hit the subscribe button for Blue Broad and like the video. And if you're listening on Spotify, hit that 5 stars, hit that follow button. It does help out the podcast immensely. Boys, match report. Final scores from NG Stadium, worst named stadium in the league.
What's
Can
it
we
called,
call it
mate? NG.
because why?
Oh, I don't know.
Is it a sponsor?
They might as well call it the tip because that's what it is.
Oh, they didn't know how to spell.
18-8, 116 the Giants, 16-8, 104 the Blues. Lost by 2 goals in the end, despite a late comeback. Akers, Curnow, Fantasia, Chera with 1 each. Kennedy and Cripps with 2 each. Williams with 3. Harry Mackay with 5. No injuries for the Blues. There were a couple during the game.
Yes.
Which we'll talk about in a minute. But anyway, not our night. Clearly not our night. After the first
started off
quarter.
our night.
Yeah, let's
Start off like an absolute house on fire.
How do you want to take this week?
I just think let's just talk about the first quarter.
Go for it.
Was
Quarter, second, and third together, and then we'll go into the last. I
yeah.
reckon.
So first quarter, all guns blazing, boys.
Yeah. I think that was probably our best quarter.
Yep.
Would you say? I think so.
You had Joe going, "We are fucked. We are
Hey,
unbelievable."
we both looked at each other
We
and
did.
went, like, we're the best team in the league.
Yeah,
It was.
that shocked me at how dominant we were in
It was
that quarter.
ridiculous.
It was
I
ridiculous.
had to watch it like entirety again.
Yeah.
Like once I got home. I was actually watching it on my phone because I was in a pub and where the table was for the birthday, there was no TV.
Oh no!
So I was watching on my phone. I was little. I reckon, and he's a Collingwood supporter too.
I
So I
would've
reckon he would have done it on purpose.
I would've left.
There was TV. It was
No,
TV
I
downstairs.
would've
Anyway,
left. I would've
I was
left.
watching. I was being respectful. I was watching it on my phone, so I had to watch it again. But boys, the way we moved the ball, I think Paysan, you said about contested numbers. I think it was like 18-7 inside the first quarter.
The clearances were 18 to
sorry,
7 to us.
Sorry, the clearances. Yeah, I think it was almost picture perfect in the end. In that was the first.
I think we're absolutely dominant. And I'd said in the preview of when we did the GWS preview that we had to absolutely batter them in the stoppage, the clearance, and obviously the contested ball. And we did that for the first quarter. And it didn't look like they were stopping us in any way. We'll literally we'll repeat entry at will, boys. We're literally getting in there at will. Zach Williams was on fire. H nailing, like it seemed obviously too good to be true with how dominant we were.
Well, yeah, that's exactly how it felt on reflection.
Yeah, on reflection.
It was too good to be true because it lasted literally a quarter.
So for you boys, what do you? I know I have my opinion, but what changed? What changed? How could you have such a dominant quarter of footy to then go to the second? Where do you see that it changed? And I want to.
Yeah, I think obviously with the
loaded question.
Yeah,
loaded as fuck.
To be honest, like where do you go from here? But like you got obviously you go into the break and then the momentum sort of stops. It's not like as if you can just continue on with it. Momentum does stop, and I always thought GWS were going to come back into the game, but not in the manner in which they did.
But this is a 7. Like we're talking about, was it 7-goal lead?
No. Well, yeah, but
it was a 7-goal lead.
I think we're up by 37.
At that point, I'm looking at that quarter and going, all we need to do for the rest of the game is keep an arm's length, 3-4 goals.
Yeah. But it wasn't like as if we were able to control back the game. So as for example, we weren't able to win a clearance. We probably did win a clearance, but it wasn't we weren't composed enough once we did have the ball in hand to try and hit up the target, slow, go chip mark.
Well, we couldn't get our hands.
They didn't allow us to.
We couldn't get our hands on it.
We could. Like, we did get our hands of it.
Our back six
obviously. Yeah, but it's the way. I just don't think we had the composure to be able to handle the situation at hand. I know Wiedering that did obviously coming off a 20-minute spell. To me, I think we struggled, and I think it's a bit of a. It's happened quite a few times where not that a little player goes off the field like a small, but particularly when a tall goes out for structure purposes, I think it throws us off a little bit.
You hit the nail on the head because that was that's if I'm answering that question, that's where it went wrong to begin with. So, and I know that they battered us in clearance from that point, right? So I get it, but the way that I looked at it was Weeders went off. They clearly smelled blood in the water because you go back and watch that second quarter, the first 2 or 3 entries they had, it looked like that after Weeders went off, it looked like they were going to be able to score at will. They would have seen that for what it was. They get their tail up. They know that all they need to do is get first use of the footy and pump the ball in there. That's what they were doing out of clearance and especially out of center clearance. Saw the numbers at the end of the game, which we'll go into in a minute. But for me, when a player like Wiedering especially goes down, we look disjointed instantly down back, and it puts them under pressure. The nerves sort of start to build. You would suggest, and that filters through, and there's a flow-on effect throughout the whole field. For me, that's how I saw it. And I think if he's off for 20 minutes, you look at the period that they came back in.
Yeah,
it's no coincidence, right?
Yeah. Rewatching the game again though, they scored a goal probably about 30 seconds towards the end of the first. Wiedering tried to look inboard and turn the ball over. They slingshot forward, score another goal. After that, there was a Carlton handball, erratic. Turnover inside the out defensive 50, turnover goal. So I think it was the first 3 or 4 goals of their run, starting from the end of the first quarter, all turnover.
Yeah,
I'll tell you something.
We're very erratic.
I watched the team. I watched GWS do to us what we do to teams.
It was
plain and simple.
Yeah.
I watched them beat us at our own game. The way I look at it is this, and I understand with Weeders going down, he's the player that we can't account for, realistically. We can't. He's that good and he's that dependent. But this is where it starts. Kieran Briggs
bullied TDK.
absolutely bullied,
Gosh.
and this is not mocking TDK at all because he's been brilliant. Yeah,
There's a lot of comments in the.
But I'll
in the
tell you
chat
something.
here.
Kieran Briggs identified that he needed to bully TDK to actually try and sway momentum the other way. That's where it starts. Then what happened was they ended up getting clearance. Okay, they got territory. Then they identified that if they got the ball inside 50, whether it got to a scoring opportunity or whether that we then had the ball, they locked us in. They had 25 tackles, 24, 25.
26 tackles.
26 tackles inside their forward 50
Oh,
to
yeah.
our 4.
But they're numbers that we see on our stat sheet
Correct.
every week.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But what they did was, Jules, if we then got the ball from their entry inside their forward 50, they penned us in to win the ball forward to center to go again.
Yeah, it was.
It was what we
It was
literally
territory,
do
It was a territory
to
battle.
teams.
In terms of the clearances, I was actually more concerned with our actual midfielders, to be honest with you. I wasn't too much concerned in terms
The
of
defensive
TDK.
side.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah.
TDK, I know Briggs had a better game than TDK. TDK was actually not bad. Like when you actually look at it, if you look at the stats, if you have a look at
Around
game,
the ground.
it's
Around the
on the-
ground.
So I'm
on the-
telling you now, in terms of hit outs to advantage, Briggs only had an extra 3.
Yeah.
So for
the
me,
stat sheet.
for me, it's the midfielders that didn't put in the effort. You had swayed of numbers. Kennedy only had 22. He kicked 2 goals. He's actually in my votes, but that's only because he had a better game inside the
With
forward
scoring
50
goals.
with scoring
Yeah.
goals. Or else inside midfield, he was
Yeah,
non-existent.
no, none of them
Walsh,
are outside of Cripps,
Tag,
really. Outside of Cripps, really.
Outside of Cripps,
Yeah.
everyone at ground level was non-existent.
I agree with that.
TDK was the one that was actually going at ground level after the actual hit out.
So
Briggs wasn't around the grounds and
No.
contesting in that manner. It was TDK.
He still was.
Not so much as like TDK.
So
So-
I've got a different opinion on that. So with
and Ches as well. Ches was non-existent too.
100%.
Well, Ches doesn't
so when
have
you-
the
and
contested
so when
side.
you have-
George Hewitt, Jules, sorry to cut you
Correct.
off. George Hewitt was a bigger loss in that midfield
Correct.
group
And
than what we'd seen.
I
Or what we
think
thought.
that there is the player.
Yeah.
He's the player that brings that in. If you have a look at Walsh's game over the month or so, he racks up about 30 odd possessions, has less than 10 contested possessions a game. On last night, he had 22 more or less. He had like 15, 16 contested possessions. That's
It's
not his game. That's not his game at the moment.
No, it's not. Back on TDK just quickly. I thought I understand. I looked at the stat sheet. He had 24 again. Obviously, he had 11 clearances, whatever it was. If you take the stat sheet out of it and you watch the game, for me, it wasn't an effective game, regardless of the numbers that he racked up. It just wasn't. Briggs throughout the night, and they even showed it on the telecast straight after the game. I watched the post game. He had his way. He had his way. He bodied him for a lot of the night. Tom clearly tried hard because he was still able to get his hands on the footy and he was still able to get clearances. But the effectiveness of those clearances and the effectiveness of those possessions, Briggs knew exactly what he needed to do with TDK. So on the stat sheet, yeah, if you look at the stat sheet in isolation, yes, it's almost a 3-vote game. He's not in any of our votes. So that last night, I was surprised on Thursday not to see a 2-ruck system because we spoke about it last week and we all agreed that we'd probably see it. We didn't. We went with it last time against them. It was effective. The fact that we didn't, that rang alarm bells for me straight away. Tom went down early with a niggle or whatever it was. He copped a knock. Again, you cop a knock early in a game as the sole ruck. You probably, whether it's conscious or subconscious, my opinion would be that he's probably not 100% committed to every contest either after that, whether it's conscious or subconscious. It's just not. You've got a knock. You don't want to go down. You're clearly hampered. I just thought from that point, there's clearly some warning signs here that Briggs might have a night, and he did. He was probably almost BOG, to be fair. Almost, I'd say.
Based on impact, yeah. There was a ruck contest where he actually didn't even go for the ball.
Yeah.
He literally went
he
for
bodied
TDK.
him, but he
bodied
bodied him all
TDK.
night, yeah. So there was that. And again, so I'll just preface the rest of this episode by saying now, we're reviewing this game in isolation. There's no panic stations here. We're just reviewing the game in isolation. It's reviewing the performance for what it was. It's reviewing individual performances for what it was, but it's not a trend. I think we can all agree. This isn't a trend. It's a blip, right?
I just think for me,
There's no concern that we're going to see this going forward.
But what it is for me,
I wouldn't say I'm concerned seeing it going forward. I'm more concerned that I've seen it twice against 2 quality oppositions in Sydney.
my concern
That's
is,
my concern.
Jules, my concern is this. My concern is we cannot regain the ascendancy through clearance. We need to start understanding that the clearance game is where you gain and regain the ascendancy to
Yeah.
to claw it back
Yeah.
purely because of territory.
I don't.
Seriously,
Which I think we agree. Hewitt would have helped there in particular. But
we've seen it enough now. All year I've been an advocate for it. Yeah, to place more emphasis on it. And don't get me wrong, I understand the turnover aspect. Okay, and I think it's massive. In a game like that against GWS, you are only able to get on top of them by winning the clearance.
Yeah.
So
That's
but
simple.
not just winning the clearance, because we did in the end. It's not about winning.
No,
clearance.
it's about
being effective out
correct.
of clearance, which we weren't.
that's the difference.
Yeah.
That's
Which we
right.
weren't.
The actual clearance numbers in the end was actually in our favour.
And this is what
It was
my
the manner
point.
in which the ball
but-
was going inside forward.
This
But
is-
you look
so
at
this.
this,
Hold on.
Jules,
That's
wait.
hold on. Wait, just quickly. That's my point with TDK as well, though. Right. So the numbers tell one story. If you look at the stat sheet on clearance in particular, he had 11 clearances for the night.
Yeah.
Not many of them were very effective.
I just
to be
don't
fair.
think. I just don't think the players at ground level help TDK
But
whatsoever.
none of them were helping each other. It's not just Tom. I'm saying it's not just Tom. He was part of the problem. He was, because he got bodied. He wasn't able to overcome Briggs.
Look at
I
this.
understand that, but at the end of the day, Ches non-existent, Walsh non-existent.
No, I get that. I understand.
that's
I
the-
understand all of that
so
too. I understand all that too. But when it
it's-
comes to the ruck contest, hit outs and making sure the first person to touch that ball is a ruckman, right? At a stoppage,
Mhm.
they can't help there. There's no third man up these days. Well, at the end of the day, that's Tom. He's the first one there at the contest. Briggs bodied him all night. It was just an off night. Wasn't good.
This paints a reflection on how the game actually goes. Yeah. And then you can go into your calcs if you need to. But yeah, quarter one, it was 18 clearances to 7. Yeah. Quarter two, it went 9 to 12 to them. All right. Quarter three, 14 to 7. And look at the way the game went.
Yeah.
And then we actually won it in the last quarter, 12 to 10.
Voss said in his press conference,
Do you
I don't
understand?
think we've ever conceded 70 points from stoppage.
Correct.
In a game.
And for me,
It's clearly an outlier, and this is what we're saying. It's an outlier of a performance
Yeah.
for me.
for me, it's not the fact that you're going to lose clearances. Okay, it's not about winning clearances, losing clearances. It's about when you win clearances.
What are you doing
do
with
with
it?
it?
Yeah,
Of
that's
course.
And then we
Well,
didn't
dog
stop
shit.
them whatsoever. Offensively, our spread in terms of score, we scored over 100-something points.
Mm.
Yeah.
That's good.
Mm.
Like, you don't really do that
No.
in a regular.
damage
you don't
is
really
done.
do it. But in saying that, we didn't defend,
No.
and we didn't want to defend after
No.
quarter time.
No, that's
In-
clear.
In fact,
Can we go into the
Correct,
pressure
yeah,
numbers
go.
now?
All right, that's
Forget
good.
your sting. Just go into it. Xana's Carls, go.
So now for me, you can talk about clearances, but it all starts from the want to defend around the ball, okay, as well as obviously out in the open as well. All right, in terms of the uncontested possessions. So pressure rating average, ours was 180, GWS was 209. Now second quarter, don't worry about the first and last, but second and third quarter in terms of what we're actually speaking about, we were at 184. They're at 234 second quarter.
Which is huge from them. That's
Huge.
Massive.
Yeah.
And then they were able to back it up.
Yeah.
We were 176, so we actually dropped off by 8. They went at 231 in the third quarter again.
Yeah.
And mind you, over the whole course of the game, they were plus 82 in uncontested possessions. So not only were they winning the ball in the contest and doing whatever they please, but outside, we couldn't go with them with leg speed. But I don't think it's because we couldn't go with them. I don't think we wanted to.
Yeah, I think
That's the concerning thing for me. And then
with-
from that, they scored the 70 obviously plus points from stoppages.
I've got the score sources here. Yeah.
But it was more concerning that it was a 69-point turnaround
Mm.
from end of
100%.
first, from end of first to end of third.
We just couldn't grab back momentum. And it was a good point you made on pressure rating. So in that second and third quarter, obviously the contest, the source was where it started. But because they were so relentless at the source, once it got out, we clearly did not have the legs, the will, or the desire to then back it up and try and create the next stoppage or create the next turnover or try to stem the flow. Once the ball came out, they were gone.
Yeah, but the way
And
they
it
moved
happened
the
for 2
ball-
quarters. It happened for 2 quarters.
Yeah.
The way they moved the ball is very good, especially out of stoppage, But you're right. There was no desire to go with that level of pressure. What I saw from us was what I saw from Geelong when we played them. When we took it to them for 4 quarters, they didn't want to bar of us. Zach Tui in that last quarter, when Ollie Hollands kicked that goal, gave up on the chase. We were giving up on chases against GWS for 2.5 quarters last night. It was too hard. It looked like everything became too hard. Put the cue in the rack, and that was it. See you later. I think in a nutshell, that's if you want to do an overview of the game in a nutshell, that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
And I would be more concerned. I'm not concerned now. I'd be concerned if we saw that again next week. I don't think we're going to see that again next week. I think the last 3 years of watching this team in particular, one thing we know, they bounce back. They usually bounce back after a performance like that.
What I did see for me is that a midfield trio of Ches, Walsh, and Cripper, for me, doesn't work in terms of balance against your GWS type.
I don't think it goes well against GWS type, but I think it's more about the top caliber teams. I think you need a player like a Hewitt who helps around the structure around the contest. Okay, in terms of organization, he's obviously that mature head. But then he's able to play not a lockdown role, but he's able to play a run with Walsh.
He can nullify.
He nullifies, but still collects your 25 touches a game.
Yeah.
I think we needed that. I reckon. I don't understand why he was a sub and then rested this week because he didn't even play VFL. He actually flew up. So for me, it was probably a rest. But that's 2 weeks of rest, essentially.
Yeah. On that, if you are, which we believe he's rested, for me, you cannot be resting players because I do not believe that we pay GWS enough respect
if we're
to do
that.
that.
If we did that, yes.
I think you can do that
If we did that. I'm not going to say we did, but writing on
I only
the
say
wall
if
looks
is because it was omitted on the team sheet.
Yeah.
And that means dropped.
Yeah, but he didn't play VFL.
I understand.
Yeah.
I understand. But
I think you can do it against a Richmond like the week prior.
Do it against North.
Yeah, do it against North, do it against West Coast, but obviously not 4, 5, 6 changes. But yeah, another thing too is I think they've probably got finals in mind as well to a certain extent. To be honest with you,
Yeah,
I reckon they know.
course they do.
I reckon they know they're going to bank a certain amount of wins and they'll probably make top 4. And I think they're probably reasonably confident. So they're probably testing, the one ruck system against the JDOS. They're probably testing, maybe don't play a Hewitt. Let's see how a midfield functions without that kind of player in there. Obviously, it didn't work against this team. So, even Owi's out was a bit.
Owi's was the one for me. And
I was shocked.
We spoke about this I brought this up last week, and I just hope you're right in saying that they're experimenting with things. And it's not what I said last week, which I spoke to you about again today, around this idea that we saw it in the prelim last year. There are certain players that came in for that game that probably didn't need to play, that weren't part of that balance and structure that we found in that run that we had in the back half of the year. We found a really nice balance in the last 4 or 5 weeks. This is the first game where I think we can all agree it didn't look as balanced as what it has been, especially on the inside with Hewitt not in there and with Walsh having to be more contested and whatnot. I really hope that we're not, and obviously with Owies as a sub as well, I really hope we're not going down the same path, that there's just certain players that are going to play because they have to.
Yeah. We played with, even on the outside, I know you want to get into Ollie Hollands as well. So you got Akers, you got Ollie Hollands, who are predominantly our wingers. Then you had Cotters as well. Then you had Fantasia still playing as well.
He's still playing up high.
Yeah, still playing up high as well. Yeah. I just don't know if that was too many.
Well,
one too many.
Did Voss not say that they went smaller to try and go with their run? Did I hear that correctly in the press conference? The way that we want to structure up. Is that right? Did he mention that?
Yeah, he did. I don't know if he said
I think he alluded to it, right?
Yeah.
So obviously they tried to do something different. It didn't work. And I hope they've learned from it to go, you know what? Fuck that. Yeah. Let's play our game. And then they've got to come at us.
That's what I think we've earned the right in the competition.
To do that, correct. I agree.
Yeah. You
come and
negate us.
Yeah.
You stop us, not the other way around. Obviously, there's certain elements. Obviously, Sincotter's been playing that run with role quite a bit, whether it be in the defensive half or midfield or in the forward half. I still think you can do that because that's a part of our game now, especially over the last 4 or 5 weeks.
His role, yeah,
it's part of his role. But I still hope that in the back of their minds, they should come and stop us now.
For sure. On that though, Chincotta's role.
I was actually going to ask.
He went to
the same question.
Cogs,
yeah.
All right. My initial thought was that he would go to Toby Green. All right. What do you boys think about that?
Can I ask a question in return?
Go.
Should we have even played him against a team that maybe we didn't really need to tag anyone?
Play him personally?
Well, his role is clearly defined now, right? As a tagger. It's a run with role. That's what we've seen for the last 6 weeks. You could have put him on Toby Green, but that's been Newman's role for the last 5 times we've come up against him, right?
I agree.
And we saw it again. Do you need, and I'll ask you both this question.
Yeah.
was last night, considering we're experimenting, was last night not a chance to go, Chink, have a week off? We've actually got no role for you.
No, I disagree because he's a player that brings the pressure.
Yeah.
So he's
But
a
he
pressure,
didn't.
but he is.
But he didn't. And he didn't because he wasn't going with a pressure player.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
is he bringing pressure because he's on run with roles with players that are there in the contest and they're there in the in and under?
Yeah.
Is it a byproduct of that? Because last night I saw him with Cogs. Cogs didn't get his hands dirty. He's not that type of player. He's classy. He's on the outside.
Yeah.
Chincotta wasn't in and under as a result. So is there something there to go? Maybe if we're going to have that sort of a player, do you need to look at the opposition and go, is there a player that he's going to play on? Yes or no? If no, you have a rest.
Yeah.
I don't know. For me, on reflection, maybe.
I think there's probably 2 players he probably could have gone to. I think he would have been better off going into our forward half and going on a Whitfield, just because I think he can still hit the scoreboard as well. So it's not only is he obviously
What was Whitfield's game?
He had 30. He didn't have too much.
30
He had 3 score involvements in that.
I was going to
though.
say he wasn't too effective,
Yeah.
was he?
They weren't really launching
Um,
through him, but he still racked it up.
Yeah, a player like that, or I wouldn't mind change up his game a bit more and go on a Tom Green. To be honest,
Well, yeah, that would have been in
For
and
Tom
under.
Green.
yeah,
Yeah.
and he would have been around the contest a lot.
Yeah,
more.
yeah, yeah.
The thing is, though, Tom Green and Cripps, they always go head to head. Like the last 3-4 times we played against them, they're head to head.
Yeah, but why do you, you can change it?
Change
yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Change it.
Well, yeah, it's an interesting one. I just think if you're going to structure up for an opponent, Chincotta might be one going forward that I think we should look at, in my opinion, to go only if there's a player worth tagging and worth negating, where it's like a Dacos, for instance, or like we saw him do with Merritt, where you just have to try and tag that player out of the game to try and negate him. I didn't really see the value for it last night
Yeah.
with the way with the role that he was given. It just didn't make sense. He had no impact, and that's not on Chink. I don't think that's on Chincotta at all. I just think that's based on the role that he was given last night. There's not much he really could have done.
Yeah.
No.
What was Cog's numbers?
Have a look.
I was going to ask something else about a player. Oh, you alluded to it with Ollie Hollins, and I'll ask Dan this one.
Cog still had a reasonable game, to be honest.
He did or he didn't?
Yeah, 28 a goal.
Yeah, so there you go. So, and again, it may be because it's not the type of player that you really need to tag. Like, I don't think he's that player. He's not really a player that's going to.
Yeah, but he's still pretty effective.
He's effective, but he's
very
not.
effective.
He's not a Zach Butters that can explode from the contest, which is what, or a. Who else has he done the job on? Like a
Gold Coast.
I just think
Took Miller,
I
like a
just
Took
think-
Miller. Yeah, they don't explode from
Yeah,
the
but
contest.
Chincotta's effect didn't come out of his own effort. It come from the effort of the team as well.
Yeah,
I think, yeah,
Do
he's.
you understand what I'm trying to say with that? Like,
Yeah. His
okay,
sort
you're
of
looking at
performance-
Cogs' yeah,
His performance is like detrimental because of.
how the team
team
defends.
went,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's right.
I think it's. I
If
think
they're bursting out the contest, what's he going to do?
it could be a bit of
really-
both. But anyway, we'll talk about that in the preview because we'll talk about who he might go to at the Dogs because there's a few that he could run with next week. Ollie Hollins, I'll ask you to start. We haven't spoken about him for a while, but outside of the podcast, we've had chats about it. I think it's papered over the cracks a little bit with the last 4 or 5 wins in terms of his output, I believe. And I'm not here to pot Ollie. I'm not. I just think he needs a rest. And I think last night it was pretty clear, if you were watching the game objectively, that he might need to go hone his craft a bit. And
He
look,
seemed
he's
just a little bit behind the 8 ball.
Can I just give an example? So St
Didn't we all, though,
Kilda,
Jules?
St Kilda played Mateus Philippou.
I go where they all look
did.
behind the 8
Yeah.
ball, but
Yeah.
yeah,
So St Kilda played Mateus Philippou in the VFL for the majority of this year. He came in today and played a monumental role against Sydney. Like in the last quarter, he basically almost won it for him off his own boot at one point. Is it just a case that Ollie might need some time just to go hone his craft, go work on a few things here and there, come back in and have a real impact going into finals?
well, I
'Cause
would hope.
he's clearly a player that we all value. And I'm not just going to say the coaches. He's clearly a player that we all value. But if you're down on form, like we kind of have to reward form, and you kind of have to go, well, you're out of touch.
Well, I think
go
you're
in.
selected on that, aren't you?
Well, are they at the moment?
well,
are they at the moment?
Well, I would hope so.
Mm.
So I would hope now with Cotter's in, you might be seeing
Yeah.
that change because George Hewitt has to come in next week.
Yeah, it clearly has to.
So
You know, and like off the back of what you're saying, you've got Cotters, you've got Akers, you've got a Fantasia. Is Ollie the one to make way for George?
Because you got Cotters, right? So you got Cotters
Yeah.
that can play that.
I think
role.
it's
I would say
interesting.
yes.
Yeah, I think it's hard. I mean, we speak about form. There's not many players in the VFL other than the last week, they're actually performing at a reasonable level to actually put their hand up as well. So you sort of got to take that into consideration. Off the back of that, there's probably reasons why. It's because we didn't have enough players anyway. Like there wasn't enough senior players in the VFL, obviously playing, and then you got Ches and Cotters that really just come straight back in too.
Which I don't agree with.
Just
just quietly.
which is based on merit.
I don't agree with it.
Yeah, I don't agree with it either. I think Chera probably should have gone back through the VFL. I think we discussed it over the pod maybe 3-4 weeks ago where he's had 3 hamstring injuries in the last 12 months or something like that. So he probably needed a bit of conditioning and a bit of a run. And then Cotters probably hasn't played for about 5-6 weeks, I reckon.
So he probably yeah.
More.
But I mean,
So,
his Cotters a bit different because of his endurance. Like he's got a tank naturally, right? Like he can run 15.
Yeah,
Ks in a
but
game.
If you're out for injury, injury, like that's
but go look at his numbers. Like have a think of his game.
from an
I think he had like 7 or 8. He didn't really have a great game. So yeah, I think Ollie probably does need a rest. But for who for? That's my question.
Well, you'd think now, okay, so with Cotters,
I don't think Ollie Holland's in our best 22. I actually don't think he's probably in there.
No, I don't think he is.
no,
That's
right.
right now. I don't think.
But
he is.
because of personnel,
he's
in
had
there.
to.
But
He's in there.
so with Cotters available now, and with Fantasia we spoke about this last week. With Fantasia playing that role as that third winger that rolls up, is now the time to go, Ollie, like go work on it because we need you primed for finals. Essentially, I want him to be that winger for finals. I think he's got it. He's clearly got something that in big games and in big moments he's there, right? Especially defensively.
From a defensive aspect,
I just think he just looks spent. He looks. It's just me being completely honest. He looks spent. And as a 19-year-old, 20-year-old that's new to the system, that's barely had a break, of course, he's going to be spent at some point. Like this is just the development of young talent. Like I'm not saying he's a poor player. He's going to be potentially a 250, 300 game player for the club, hopefully. But right now, he just doesn't look. He doesn't look up to it. That's all.
But if you omit him, then I wouldn't imagine he'd be back in the next 2 or 3 weeks.
No,
at a minimum.
No.
At a minimum.
No.
If
But
you
I
don't
think
think Ollie,
he couldn't bounce back in a week.
I wouldn't imagine that.
I think we've got a block of games where we can do that, though. Now, I think this is the time to do it.
But especially for continuity, like if you're going to then roll with the Cotters, you're going to ensure that it's Cotters Acres, for example.
Yeah. I guess it depends on what the coaching staff value in terms of what they want from a Cotters too. Do they want him more half forward than a wing? Because if Ollie Hollands does go out, I can't see Fantasia being on the wing predominantly.
I'll tell you this. I don't think the wing spot is the area of concern for me. I think it's the fact that George Hewitt.
Yeah, of course, from last night.
That would have been.
I think it would have made a big difference.
The other thing is, if I can bring another person into the mix, Charlie Curnow.
Yeah, we can talk about him. There's a report that he was injured in the warm up.
Okay,
and almost didn't play.
Don't play then.
Quietly, but
don't play. If you're injured in the warm up, don't play. My thing is this: if you have a Charlie Curnow not hitting the scoreboard, you need to get this guy involved however you can. That is my genuine opinion.
Yeah, agree.
Yeah.
Because him having 3 touches or 2 touches by 3/4 time for a guy of that quality isn't good enough.
So when you
from
say
his standards
agree.
for the team.
So for me though, I mean, you say, and I don't think you actually meant it in terms of you saying that we need to try to get him into the game. I think he needs to get himself.
Yeah, correct. Whatever it is, whether it's Boss moving magnets or whether it's him actually having a bit more.
He did it late. He started to float up a little bit higher late, and he actually came into it. He hit that pass to Harry and kicked the goal.
I think Charlie's been great over the last 2.5 years. He's been unbelievable.
Still leading the Coleman.
Yeah, still leading the Coleman.
Yeah, but
anyway. I've said my thing 5, 6, 7, 8 weeks ago. I still think he doesn't do enough. And it's not about hitting the scoreboard. It's off the ball stuff. I still think he can do a lot more. Even a lot of his goals. And it's not a pot shot. And obviously the free kicks are there. Trust me. He's a smart footballer in terms of getting them.
He actually hasn't kicked off any from free kick.
And
I think it's only 7 or 8.
I'm saying overall.
Yeah.
Okay. So free kicks, he does get a few. There's also a lot of goals where he's just from the pack, like against GWS. He does get a few. It does get a few of those. Obviously, he gets goals from other ways as well. I just think he could do a lot more, especially against good sides. For me, there's still a question mark.
you can't have him. You cannot have him on 3 touches by 3/4 time.
Yeah.
You just can't.
Yeah.
Not with his
Um,
quality.
Yeah.
You're
was
underutilizing him.
It was a poor
Get
night.
Get him higher up the ground. Get him on a wing.
It was a poor night.
Get
for
him on a
It,
wing.
it was a very poor night for Charlie. Jack Buckley looked like he was fucking Matthew
Yeah, but
Scarlett.
Charlie didn't even put up
It
a
looked like
fight
he
at
was Matthew
times.
Scarlett.
Nah,
No, I know.
One-on-one, body on body.
Charlie
loses out
he's poor.
majority of the
Yeah.
time.
And you know what the thing is he's actually strong.
He is.
So I don't get it. He's-
Clearly, right, we don't know. Something might not be right. Something he might be carrying something. That
Then
none of us
don't
know
play.
about. Yeah, I know, but at the end
Then
of the day,
don't play.
at the end of the day, you better like we've clearly. So you can say it's easy to say that, but we've clearly been better with him than not.
Can I ask you a
We've won
question?
11 games. We've lost
If-
5 this year. Like even Charlie at an 8. We said this. I'm sorry. Hold on. Let's
Yeah,
be.
but you're
Let's, hold on.
injured.
Hold
But
on.
You're not
Hold on,
understanding.
hold on.
It's you're saying that he
Yeah.
may have been injured.
Hold on,
My
hold on,
thing
I'm not-
is-
I'm not-
my thing
hold on.
is,
Can
if
I
he
speak? Can I
doesn't-
speak?
one
Can I speak?
second, though,
Can I speak?
because I
was
understand where you're
talking.
going.
I was talking. We said a couple of years ago, Charlie at 80% is better than no Charlie at all. We said this. We did say it when he came back from injury. I can clearly remember it.
I'm not saying
So-
he shouldn't play.
No. I'm talking
Yeah.
to Dan though. At the end of the day, we've been better with him than not. I get it. This game in isolation looks poor. Yeah, he's probably not to his standard, which is scary.
Yeah, but you're excusing his performance
because he
'cause
could
he's
be.
injured.
I'm not excusing his performance at all. He could be doing so much more. I tend to agree, which is actually scary when you think about it. But if he is potentially carrying something, you can't say don't play. We'd all
But Joe,
rather him
if
out
you're
there.
offering up 3 touches by 3/4 time, and you're saying that he's carried
Is that
an
a
injury,
function of him last night, or is it a function of the rest of the group too? Like we spoke about.
We still had 50 inside 50.
correct.
We spoke.
So look,
But
We
we
still
spoke,
went-
hold on, but we spoke about on this podcast how poor the inside 50s were, how poor we were further up the ground. You can't flip and change.
So
Either
get
we
him
were poor-
involved then,
either we were-
Joe.
But obviously we couldn't. No one was getting involved. So I'm not excusing his performance, but
Harry
at the end-
kicked 5.
Yeah, well,
So
Harry kicked 5.
three of them
yeah.
came in the
Williams
first
kicked
quarter,
3.
when we're
Who
on fire.
cares?
When we're on fire. Williams did fuck all
I
up the
just
first
think
quarter.
I just think with Charlie, the way he tries to receive the ball in terms of trying to get body on contact with a Buckley, with a May, which he tears him up every single time. He needs to change his manner in which he plays against those kinds of players because he'll get done every single time.
He does need to lead a lot
to-
more.
he needs
to
needs
better
to
lead up
a lot
patterns.
more,
He needs
yeah.
to lead.
He does need to
okay?
lead a lot more.
Because that's the way he's going to get those easy goals.
It's funny because he leads when he gets that ball like on the 50.
Yeah.
Like you see it. He's steaming out for it and he wheels and goes and he hits either hits that pass or he goes for goal. Why he doesn't do it 30, 40 meters out, I got no idea. I don't know if he's not starting deep enough. I don't know if I don't know what the
Yeah,
direction
his
is.
leading patterns
when-
aren't right.
And when you're saying like you alluded to, he could be in, he could be. And that's what I'm saying. If he's body on body and it's a physical injury, say it's like upper body, etc.
Well, it could have been an ankle on
whatever it is.
against GWS.
But if he's leading in straight lines, he's not going to be inhibited like with his ankle in terms of like when he's twisting and turning.
well, yeah.
Or when he's
that's-
body on body contact because you're trying to get a grip in terms of the ground. So I just
Yeah,
think
but if
there's
he's
other ways.
sprinting, you might have a lot of pain in the ankle though.
yeah.
I don't know.
Well,
For
that's-
me,
and
No,
that's-
seriously.
Well, that's the
Yeah.
thing, right? So
Yeah.
if in reality he actually did have a little tweak in the warm up, you can understand why he couldn't get separation.
yeah.
Yes or no?
Yeah, but it's not like he's just done that against GWS. We've seen him week in, week out,
Yeah.
body on body with the defender
I
and
get
lose
it.
out.
I get it. But and he does look at his best when he leads. We know
Correct.
that, right? But he didn't lead at all last night. This is my point. Like even against what was that game? Was it the Gold Coast? Hold on, was it the Gold Coast game where up to half time he had no impact? It was the Gold Coast game. Ended up kicking 4 goals for the game because he started leading in the second half.
Okay.
We
I would
didn't
like to
see
see
it.
this. I'd like to see this. There was a passage of play, all right, where we went inboard with a kick. I'd like to see Charlie go as high as like being involved in that contest.
Mm.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Being involved in that
If
contest
you-
and then
The
either
problem is,
winning
so the
or getting-
problem with this is that's
They're
not his
small.
that's not his role when Harry's second ruck because he's higher up the ground. So and again, not to bring it back to the 2 ruck system, but would it help if Pitto is in to allow for Charlie and Harry just to play as either a deep forward or a higher forward? Because with Harry as second
Well,
ruck,
it's an-
he has to be
could
higher up
be.
the ground. Like, is that something that we look at to
I
go,
think-
maybe that gives Charlie the flexibility to actually go and get 80 meters from goal, 90 meters from goal if we need him to, so Harry's deep. Because right now, if Harry's up the ground, Charlie knows he can't leave, and he's one out.
My genuine opinion is with the inclusion of Pitto is opposition dependent. You have a Kieran Briggs, a Pitto matches well against the like. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
Similar to what you said today.
I know. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did say that. Yeah. I
Me-
said it
you
during
said-
the game. I
yeah,
just said during the
that's
game.
right. You said during the game.
During the
Me-
game, I'd said that if we had Pitto, you could actually get TDK as another third tall, the deepest forward, and then you could get either Harry or a Charlie high up the ground.
That's the
Yeah.
point. And then
Correct.
Harry and Charlie just switch.
Yeah.
So if Charlie's the one that needs to lead up 80, 90 meters out of goal and take his defender with him, Harry just fucking drops back.
Yeah.
Right now, you can't because Harry's up there and Charlie can't go.
Yeah.
Because then you got no marking target. So I don't
Yeah,
know. Maybe it's
I don't
something.
know. I don't think Charlie was inhibited whatsoever last night. I didn't see it with the way he was moving.
From an injury perspective, nah.
No, I
No,
didn't
I
see
mean,
it.
We didn't even see him on camera.
It's speculation.
I
No,
didn't
but
see him on the ball until the
even
fourth.
when he was around the ground,
Yeah,
I didn't see him.
No, he didn't look like he was wavering. That.
It's
all.
speculation. Can I just say something? Our boy, Will Hayes,
Yeah, he back.
made
in
a miracle comeback
yeah.
Yeah,
in the
I know, I saw.
VFL for the Blues on the
I saw.
weekend. He's probably not watching, but I'll message him after the pod. 38 disposals on
He
return,
dominated.
6 marks, 7 tackles, and apparently he made a mockery of him. Like, just looked like he was out there and brought his own footy with him.
And he sleep deprived because he had a.
He just had a kid. Yeah, congratulations to him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, I'll message him after. It was a good one. Anything else from the game before we go into votes?
No, I think we did all right with that.
No point in speaking about the last.
No,
Again, like I said at the start, we're not
it's not doomsday.
It's not doomsday. We're reviewing the performance in isolation. When we go into the preview, I'm sure we're going to finish this episode.
I
saying
yelled
we're
at
gonna
him yesterday.
belt the
I
Dogs
go-
by 50.
I yelled at him yesterday because he's like, "I'm calm."
I was.
I go, so am I. But you can judge the game for what it is. You can
course.
judge, yeah, and that's
No,
what
but
we're doing.
I wasn't saying I'm calm from that perspective. You know what I was saying? I'm
Yeah,
calm.
but he was cooking
Right.
me. He was just sitting
Huh?
there, Jules, and he's like, "Whatever happens, I'm calm."
I was.
Did
I
you
like,
just
but
wanna,
judge the game and not be
No,
happy
but
with the game.
that's
That's why your dad's right in a sense because he's fuming at the
the
game.
Yeah.
That's why that's what on it's a Sills. If you're watching Sil,
Too much though.
It wasn't. Hold on.
I wasn't
Still-
there.
all right.
But I'm
there were
I'm
other, there were other
picturing it.
comments outside of that game in isolation.
Yeah,
That's
for
why I
Sil-
was
for
cooking.
Sil,
That's
yeah.
why I was cooking.
But my thing as well.
EG.
You know
He's
what,
watching, by the way.
do you know
he
what,
got in the comments.
do you know what I'd like to talk about? I'd actually like to talk about the back 6, back 7.
yeah, we can.
Oh, okay.
So obviously the ball was going in there. I mean, they had 60 inside 50s, but I think it was more so the manner in which it was going down. I know there's been topic of conversation in and around like our tools defensively in terms of like who we should go with. What are your thoughts about Kemp, boys? I know I have my thoughts. What are your thoughts?
I think that if you see the Jesse Hogan getting his way, I think Weeders need to go to him.
Yeah, no shit.
personally. Yeah.
I'm shocked that didn't
So-
happen.
It's not the
Oh,
matchup.
yeah.
That's not the matchup
Yeah.
for Kemp.
You could
Like-
see he was struggling. You could
No.
see.
I don't know what the directive was from the coaching staff, but that clearly wasn't.
Kemp better not
That
get
clearly-
dropped
that
on
clearly
this.
wasn't
Yeah,
correct.
yeah.
On this, Kemp better not get dropped.
We'll talk about that in the preview because
Yeah.
I tell you, if that's what I see, I'll lose my mind because he has been brilliant all year.
Agree.
Brilliant. Well, he's been in our votes like,
Yeah.
multiple times, right?
Yeah.
It's just last night they got it wrong. Whether it was on the ground, Weeder's not, switching on and going, you need to go,
But-
and I've got to take him, or the coaching staff not being able to do it. It was just wrong.
Do you think
Put him in the worst position
having
possible.
played sport, yeah, you're the same, Joe, at like really, really low level. Like really
Go
low
out-
level.
Go out in the golf course, that's all right.
Having played, don't you think that should come from the players? Like, should
You
Weeders
guys answer this.
identify? Yeah, I'm
answer
actually directing it to Jules. Should Weeders be identifying that and going, "Hey, listen, Kempy, go and take who was the
All right, so I'll ask you then. How many times did that happen in your careers where you had to make a change on the fly?
Like he dragged me once. He was playing centre back. I think he dragged me to a different position, and the coach yelling. And Jules actually told the coach,
Yeah.
that's what's happening." It was at Kilo.
and then what happened?
Literally
And then,
under
so then,
13s.
then what happened at halftime with the coach?
Nothing. We won the game. Hey,
We won the game.
listen.
We won a state championship.
I'm not joking. Even at like
Jules, honestly,
in senior level, I used to change formations mid-game off the basis of what the other teams were doing, and we had a player coach as well.
Good.
Remember? Yeah. And unbelievable coach. And he used to be a player coach. He is.
can't say unbelievable.
He was all right. He was
No,
good.
he
No,
was
he was
good.
good.
No,
He-
he was
you know,
really
he's a
good,
very
man.
good people person.
Yeah.
Good,
Yeah. Tactically, he was good. He was sound.
And
too.
tactically, he was very good.
No, he was very good.
Sound.
Is he coaching now?
He's up in
Yeah.
Logan in
Yeah,
Queensland.
he's in Queensland. Anyway, so yeah, mate, he used
he's
to, and,
good.
he used to be a play, he used to be a player coach, and we used to
Fucking idiot.
discuss things on the field.
He used
And
to
I
play.
s-
Did he play with Adam Lallana at some point?
Yeah,
Back in
yeah.
England. He
Adam
did.
Lallana.
Yeah. He did. No, hey,
Dude,
this is
Southampton.
that's full on. That's Southampton. He did. Anyway, go on.
Anyway, so he used to be player coach.
We
and
just
we-
nailed you. You had nothing to say. Go.
We
He's
obviously
a good coach because he played with Adam Lallana.
no, he's a good coach.
Sure,
Anyway,
he was good. Go on.
we used to discuss things on field, and we said, "No, we need to change formation. They're playing a midfield 3. We need to go to
Yeah, but he was
whatever."
on.
If you're in a grand
on field,
final-
he was on field with you, but
Yeah, but I used to tell him.
yeah,
It wasn't like as if
but
he would say.
I know, but
Yeah,
you're,
same thing.
it's still feedback to the coach on field. It's very different to
I
when he's
also
just
did it
drag
when
and camp.
I also did it when I was another coach.
Yeah, I know. It's just not kosher. you don't really do it. I still think at that level, at the AFL level, when you got a leader like Weeders down back, he should have license to make a change.
Correct. In a grand final, would you hope that Weeders
should
makes
have
a
license.
decision? In a grand final, I would hope that Weeders makes a decision to make that
Yeah.
change.
I just think
Yes.
for me,
Yes.
it wasn't like
I said
as
he's
if
got license as that leader down back. Fuck you.
yeah, for me, it wasn't like as if Wiedering was having his way either in terms of getting across
yeah, he wasn't able
to
to.
prevent Hogan.
Yeah.
So in my books, it's like I'm unable to impact Hogan, which is obviously the main person that they're going to.
Mm.
I'm just going to go play on him.
That's fair. Anything else?
No, that's it.
He was a good coach, Dan. He was very good.
All
he was-
right.
he was-
He's still
He
going.
was that good that he identified that they needed an analyst.
I actually said to him, I'm like, I think we need an analyst. Like, let's have one.
And because Joe never works.
To be fair, well,
Cut-
again,
exactly
so you're
right.
going to cost me
I
my job.
say
again.
he can't
You know
do
what?
it.
I'm not bringing beers anymore. Fuck yeah. No, on that though, that was the best thing that Jules ever did for me. Was I said to Jules, I really want to get into like data analytics for sport and whatnot. Jules goes, leave it with me. Next training session, he goes to Cootsy. You reckon we need like data analysts? Fled the sea.
It was all
I
over
got a
it.
phone
I
call the
remember.
next week. It was good. That was good. Yeah. All right, votes. We've all got the same. So you take
Kennedy.
Kennedy because you want to speak about Kennedy. You can take
Cripper.
Cripps. I'll take Harry. So Kennedy for one.
Kenny for one. All right, Kenny for one. By all means, I don't think he had an unbelievable game inside the midfield, but still got 21 touches, kicked 2 goals. I think he had. Oof, my handwriting's terrible here. 6 tackles.
Can't read his own handwriting.
He had 2 goal assists and 9 score involvements out of his 21 touches. So, in terms of the output going forward, was really sound.
Cripps.
This is on the back of his first quarter.
Yeah. The only quarter was the third for him.
In terms of
Where he had no
poor.
impact.
Yeah, in
Yeah,
terms of
he had
poor.
4
Yeah, he was. Yeah,
Yeah.
because but his first quarter again, we were sitting there going, just give him
Even
the
though,
Brownlow.
like his second and his fourth.
Well, his
as well,
fourth as well,
unbelievable.
and
Yeah.
the impact in the fourth to get us going and making some form of a climb
Mm.
back is the reason why we've given him 2.
We all did.
Definitely.
We all
Well, he
did.
still had if you look at his numbers, they were still like
His second goal.
stupid. He had 21 contested possessions.
Yeah.
21 of his 33 contested.
You know, I remember a night that
9
Judd-
score
just to put-
involvements.
To put those contested possessions into perspective, just quickly.
Oh.
Do you remember that night that Judd against Sydney in the wet, and they were blowing about how contested he was? He had like 25 contested possessions for the night. Cripps does this like weekly.
Like the
Yeah.
guy-
Like, it's weekly. It's
Yeah.
ridiculous. Anyway, go continue.
His
Just put
second
into-
goal.
into
His second
perspective.
goal was a joke.
It
His
was
second
on the
goal,
run.
yeah, on the run.
But he
Yeah.
started from like D50.
Yeah. Oh, in
Like
terms of
run-
his work rate,
work
yeah,
rate.
yeah.
He doesn't get votes though.
In that
in that
game,
game.
In the
probably
Brownlow.
Do
not.
you reckon? No.
You don't
No,
Maybe
in that
maybe
game.
one. Maybe
Do you
one.
reckon?
Maybe one. He stood out early. That's why. And I reckon he would have been on the umpire's mind early on.
It'd be
Talking about
Yeah.
Brownlow, Heaney.
Yeah. Hey, rubbed out. It looks like he's going to be rubbed out.
yeah. Yes.
Possibly.
So Cripper could just have this in the bag. Sports bet.
I've already got him on.
Early payout.
Into Carlton.
Sorry,
top
are you
4.
done with Cripps or?
No, that's all right. No,
I just wanted to add some perspective.
I'll save this for our next 360 feedback.
I think it was okay to add perspective, and I'm throwing it back to you to say finish off with
He's
Cripps.
making up rules now.
Don't
Harry
don't get
Mackay.
shitty that
No,
you get
go.
interrupted and whatnot.
Go,
Like,
go.
You're like a kid.
No, go. Yeah. Insult. Let's
Fuck
go.
it, I'd rather talk to Jules these days.
Let's go. Come on, Harry.
Well, we all gave Harry 3. It's pretty easy. Kicks 5 straight. All drop punts, no snaps, all set shots. He's that's as perfect a game as what he's probably played individually, I think. As poor as what the night was. I just think you can't go past a key forward that kicks 5 on the night as a pinch hit ruck too, by the way. Yeah, I just thought he was brilliant. He had no turnovers across the game. His work rate was actually really good too. There was a passage of play when he was second ruck, and his follow-up work. Do you remember the stoppage I'm talking about? It was on like
his
the
work
wing near
rate's
camera
always good.
side, but like it was like second and third efforts, and it was like he was just relentless. So
His work rate for a forward is a joke.
Elite, yeah.
yeah, very good. Very good. That's the work rate
Joke.
you want out of Charlie, to be fair.
Yeah, correct.
Because Charlie would be the greatest player of all time if he had that. He would. Yeah. This is usually where I throw to Livy, but no Livy.
Yeah,
this week.
no Livy. No Livy this week. First of all, she's upset. Second of all, she's got her own sporting commitments that she's been attending to. Trolling for state, Tasmania,
Footy?
Soccer.
Soccer.
So she's busy with that. So she's actually here in Melbourne tomorrow.
There you go.
So we might have her in the studio.
Next week, she wants to come in.
We'll have her in.
I mean, we've only got
Wow.
3 mics, so she'll
Well,
be
she gets a
sitting.
bit nervous, and then she can come in, do it. She actually do a live segment.
Yeah, but she'll be sitting here for
Yeah,
a
but-
long time doing nothing. So that's fine.
Yeah, she'll have her
Yeah,
sort
okay.
of thing.
Yeah, mate, we've got
PS5.
room. But we just don't have a fourth mic.
Nintendo
PSP. Nintendo
Just
Switch.
make sure she knows we don't have a fourth mic for her to be on the whole time. I don't want her to get a false sense of like, oh, I'll be on for an hour and a half with you. That's all. Unless one of us wants to sit out. But Jules, she probably
You can
feel
bring
it.
your mic. You can bring your mic.
Nah, I can't connect it up to the thing.
All
That's
right, well, then
different.
you
You know,
sit.
what you can do. You can get Livy. You know, you can get Livy to read out your calc.
Yeah, fuck.
Yeah,
do
could
that.
do that.
Yeah.
Anyway, you might see Livy live in studio next week. For now, this week, no Livy. Votes leaderboard. Cripper has just got this in the bag.
What's he on?
He's way.
He's on 81 votes. The next best is 40. Like,
Who's 40?
H.
H. Yeah. It's H.
You say H or H?
No, it's H. And I got told during the week it's H.
Did you say
You're a
H or
teacher. You
H?
should know this.
No,
'Cause
no.
I got told by a teacher.
H. You surely say H.
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 That's
correct.
wrong. It's wrong.
How
It's
is it
actually
wrong?
I got told it was wrong by a teacher, and they were like, "Don't you ever fucking say H."
What?
And it shit him that much that they got a bit upset.
Can the listeners
It's a,
let us know?
I'll
Give us
you
confirmation.
know what? I'll Google it. Watch. How
Yeah, that's not
do
surely not.
you
It's probably
pronounce?
Do you reckon?
How do you pronounce H? Ready? Watch. It's pronounced H.
H.
H. There's no her, except for when you say hat. Tell me how that works.
Yeah, but,
Doesn't make sense. That's why.
but,
How does that work?
but how is H actually pronounced? Is it H or H?
H.
His name H, nickname H,
Oh, it should be H.
but everyone pronounces it H. So
Correct.
we're right.
So we're right.
I don't know if we're right.
No, that's just
I think everyone's wrong. I think it's H. All right. We've got a preview to do of the Dogs game. Go on.
Dogs Marvel, boys.
Oh, here we go. Gab in the chat. Hello from the UK, she says.
Confirming it.
And she then says, I think it depends on the country and their slang dialect,
You
to be
said
honest.
that. Jules said that.
Google
To-
said
to his
otherwise.
credit.
Oh, here we go. Finally, someone knows how the letter H is pronounced. Simon Makito in the chat. Clearly it's H, he's saying. So, Gavin Whelan saying we're breaking boundaries with this type of content.
Hey, Gavin, we can take this wherever you want it to go, my friend. Wherever you want this
That's
to
the
go,
most
we can
boring
take
shit
it.
we've ever spoken about on this podcast.
If it's come in before a preview.
H or H? It's H. Anyway, preview.
Anyway, who really cares?
Well, to be fair, when Livy's doing her bit, we normally
Like,
talk about this
how you
shit behind the
pronounce-
scenes.
How do you pronounce house? It's not house. It's house. Why is it H? It doesn't make sense to me. Anyway, go. We're all on the same page. I think society's fucked. Go.
yeah. Anyway, Western Bulldogs.
Saturday, 4:35 p.m.
Oh, is it
Yeah.
an Arvo game?
Arvo,
Oh, I
yeah,
thought it was a
Arvo.
night game.
They've been going all right after the last week or so. To be
Except
honest
for this
with you.
week.
Except for
Yeah,
this week,
that's what I'm
that's
saying.
terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think, boys, I reckon, what are they saying?
Oliver Lynch said to go through the alphabet live. And then Gavin Whelan said he's about to get on the H. He's so bored. As in, bit of white china.
Oh, that's lost
Jesus
me.
Christ.
It's gone bad.
No, the Doggies. I just reckon it's I think it's obviously a must-win game. Like we should be winning this game. First of all, but boys, I reckon if we can bring the intensity, if we can average, I'll tell you now, what did we average? 180. If we can average around 190, 195 pressure for the game,
Which is what GWS averaged in the end, yeah.
they averaged 209.
Oh, it was 209.
I think so. Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. If we average 195, I reckon for the game, I reckon we win it, and we win it quite comfortably. To be
Yeah,
honest,
I think we just got to go back to playing our brand again and being dominant in the clearance and the contested ball, because that's what they're going to bring. As I said earlier in the show, obviously your players to watch, your Bontempellis, your Treloars. Treloar's been fantastic this year.
The whole midfield. So it's a midfield.
Liba.
It's a midfield heavy team. So this is the game.
This is the game.
to
That's
play
right.
all of our midfielders.
But this is where we need to dominate them in there. completely dominate because then I don't think they'll have an answer. Port did the same
What happened to Norton? Yeah, I know he came
Concussion.
off.
early as well.
So
Concussion.
he'll be out. There's
be
someone
out.
in the comment has
Yeah.
already said he's out for 10
So
days.
yeah, so he's out.
Who does Chink go to? Bont? Boys? Does Chink go to Bont?
Can you tag Bont? I don't know if you can tag
I
him.
don't know.
I reckon he goes to Trelaw, to be honest.
Do you think so?
I think Trelaw is more a player you can run with than Bont. Bont's just going to do what he wants to do. Like,
Yeah, I don't
because
see
you know
Bont-
why? Because if you tag Bont in the middle, they'll just throw him forward. They'll throw him deep
Yeah.
forward, and then Chincotta's one out. Forget about it.
Yeah,
It's not-
I don't see. I mean, if Sink does play on Bont, it will be in the midfield. He won't play in D50. I reckon it'll be a Newman or a McGovern. I
Yeah.
reckon. Yeah, they will
If
go,
he goes
that-
there, yeah.
If he goes forward, yeah,
if
for
he goes
sure.
forward. But yeah, I could see him go on to
Trelaw.
Yeah, Trelaw.
I think it's Trelaw.
Yeah.
And then, so obviously, Tim English, another premier ruck in the contest. Are we playing 2 rucks this week? If it's us, I'm saying yes. To give TDK a chop out. I think you go real midfield heavy. Just make sure you win the clearance because this is a side that you've got to win clearance against.
Yeah.
They get their hands on the footy, they'll rack up
Yeah.
disposals.
Who's their second ruck?
Roy Lobb. And he
Lobb.
gives a really good chop out too. So
Yeah.
TDK will be up against 2 for most of the day, if so.
You'd probably roll with 2.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind running with 2 anyway in this game. To be honest, yeah.
I think it's a game to do it. The other one is they got a really tall forward line. So Lobb, Darcy, Hugo Hagen. Obviously Norton's not playing, but those 3 there. Is this a week that you bring in Marchbank and you go really tall down?
Well, I'd
back?
spoken about Marchbank last week.
Not to
boys.
replace Kemp because again, I don't want to see
So
that.
who's he
I
coming
don't want a flinch reaction to Kemp's performance from selection committee. But does he come in and we play a really tall back line?
So for who?
I don't know.
Cowan.
Maybe a Cowan, yeah. Maybe.
Jules? I'd mentioned Marchbank
Maybe a Boyd.
2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Boyd's ball is too good, but maybe a Cowan, yeah.
Yeah, I think Marchbank is.
Sam Darcy, by the way, is a very good player.
No, he could tear us
He's
a
a
new
very,
Arsenal
very
team.
good player.
He could tear us one.
I think Marchbank, when he is performing, is in our best 22 and quite comfortably for me. I think he's our second best tall defender.
Hasn't shown
I think.
just hasn't shown it consistently enough. That's the
Yeah,
problem.
yeah.
And then because
Well, his body doesn't allow him to
Doesn't
show
allow
it
him to,
consistently.
yeah.
But that's the problem.
We
That's
spoke
why.
about this 2
but
weeks
that's
ago.
that's the thing. You've got to play with what you've got, right? And Kemp's the one that showed. Like for me, Kemp's our second best, only because Marchbank can't get on the park.
Um,
Yeah,
But I think this
but
week,
come finals, are you rolling with a Marchbank, Kemp, and Weeders? Like, are you rolling with that?
and McGovern.
That's what I'm saying. Well, are you though, or no?
Well, I mean, this is the week to try it. I think because we're coming up
I
against a
think-
really tall forward line. You
I
can
think
put
you-
McGovern
Kemp-
into Cowan's role,
to be
and
honest,
McGovern
Kemp's
can just
very
play a running
versatile.
halfback role.
I actually think you can play all 4 of them no matter what. team,
Kemp's
because
versatile.
I think a McGovern can play on a short time, a small and a tall, as long as they're not like a
Likewise,
ruckman.
Kemp.
And same as Kemp. So I think, and most teams do have 2 genuine talls anyway. So that's when a Marchbank and a Wiedering will go to those 2. I think you can play all of them at all times. It's just whether you have the right balance in terms of being able to defend and then being able to move the ball as well. So it probably is a Cowan that does come out for a Marchbank because then it doesn't prevent you from moving the ball because Cowan's has been more of a lockdown player.
I'll tell you what I will like. Pito comes in. I actually really like the prospect of TDK forward. I think even with our pressure inside forward 50, he can bring that as well. So I think him being able to go there will cause headaches for the Dogs.
Dogs aren't tall down back, so
No.
you can expose that.
That's right.
Yep.
So I think having Charlie, Harry, and him, because him at ground level, you've said it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Tom at ground level is like having a small. He's
Oh,
that,
yeah.
he's
If
that
you- if
aggressive.
You can bring the same intensity.
So
yeah.
if it does, we bring it back in this way. I'm not gonna say we try because we know it works as well. Like it worked last time we played GWS.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what I really want to see. Yeah. If Pito comes in, TDK spends obviously more time forward, or they share that ruck role. And then if you can hit the scoreboard and kick 2 or 3, you'll take that.
Yeah, for sure.
The thing is, so if you bring in Pito, you bring in Motlop, you bring in
Who
Hewitt.
said Motlop?
Well, he's kicked 4. Are we rewarding 4?
I think always has to come in personally.
Always
always
you
has
got
to come in.
Motlop, Pito, Hewitt, and maybe Mark. That's 5 players that we've said could potentially come in. It's not
I
going to
don't-
happen.
I don't see
Hollands for me will come out.
Okay, yeah. So then Connors pushes up to a wing.
Yep.
Mhm.
Next,
Always comes in.
Always obviously comes in. Yep.
For that.
So that's a straight swap. Then what?
Ches out.
As a sub.
Sub.
Okay.
Hewitt in.
Hewitt in. Yep.
Yeah, I could see that.
So that's an easy one. Yeah. Marchbank for Cowan. We
Well,
said.
don't worry about March.
No, but if we're going to do it, it would be for Cowan. You would think. Not because of Cowan's form, but just because of
I
structure.
still think you've still got to
Yeah.
roll with a side that you're going to roll with for the next 3 to 4 weeks, not just to try it.
All right, so
now.
we're saying no Marchbank.
No Marchbank. Don't worry about
I
Marchbank.
don't like too many changes.
Yeah, it ruins the continuity.
Are you bringing Motlop in?
No.
No, I
No.
reckon he needs to earn it.
He's earned it. He's put
Nah,
together a good month.
What did he kick the
I'm
week
talking-
before?
It's not what he's been kicking. He's been playing the same role as Fantasia as well.
So you want to
he's-
drop Fantasia?
Well,
Yeah. Look,
I don't know.
Last week we praised him,
yeah.
saying he can't leave the
I
side.
No,
think,
I don't- but
I think Fantasia's been great.
Yeah.
I just don't think he's. If everyone's, I don't think he's in a best 22.
I think he is right now, based on what he's doing. But it's
Yeah,
just whether or not
because the other
Motlop. It's
players
just
aren't
whether or not
there.
Motlop is banging on the door loud enough. And I think if you've kicked 4 goals in the VFL
Yeah.
in a winning side as well, and
I
you've
just
racked
think
up
if-
touches,
if
you're kind of
Motlop-
saying you got to pick me.
I
Like
think.
you have to pick me. At
I
this
think
point.
if Motlop starts
Mm.
performing in the VFL, Martin puts a few games in the VFL. I don't know if Fantasia's there.
I think if Fantasia, I think Fantasia will play against the Dogs. I think if he has a poor game, Motlop's
No,
then
I think
comes in.
Fantasia probably plays this week.
He plays this week.
Yeah,
Motlop's obviously performing. If he's biting at the heels, if he doesn't perform, it's an easy switch.
Yeah, so they've been running Motlop through the middle of them too. So he kicked 4 goals essentially with midfield time too.
he's been playing like stoppage, like clearance.
Yeah, I know.
center
Yeah,
He's out the
clearances.
he's out the back of stoppages around the ground as well. It's that same role. So he's kind of banging on the door, going, "You have to pick me now." This is what we say every week. If you've got you want players to say you've got to pick me, especially coming off a loss.
So you basing it off the last game then? Are you saying based off last game, Fantasia gets dropped and we play Motlop?
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying?
I just don't think.
No, because I don't think Fantasia was our worst either, to be honest.
Well, then he has to just wait another week and see.
I think Motlop needs to put in like. I'm not saying 4 goals every week in the VFL, but if he's playing that position, he's probably going to get 20 plus every week
Yeah, true in the VFL.
in the VFL,
of course.
and kick a goal or two.
Because we're doing this little thing.
Consistently.
Because we're doing this little thing about what do you expect to see on we did that last week with the player.
Oh yeah. So
Like,
what's your
you're going to see Sam Walsh esque this week.
what's the prediction then?
2 and 35.
And how much do we win by?
We win by about 30 to 35 points.
What's yours?
Charlie 5 goals.
And
I hope so. For
final
my
score?
bet.
Oh, final score. We're doing that as
Well,
well.
margin.
No,
I'm saying.
margin.
Margin.
I reckon we win by 36.
I reckon you'll see Motlop come in, and I reckon he kicks 4 like he did against Port same time last year.
For Fantasia.
I don't know who for. I don't know. That's one that I can't. I actually can't split hairs there. I'm not sure, but I reckon he comes in. Whether he comes in late or not, I reckon he kicks 4.
Does he come in for Lige?
No, Elijah's too good. Fucking hell. And we win by, I don't know. I'm saying 3 or 4 goals. I think the Dogs will take it to us. To be honest, they're coming off a loss too, a bad one. Like they're gonna have their tail up. They're gonna want to prove a point. So, could be a very hotly contested game at Marvel Stadium Saturday afternoon. All right.
Yeah. Sort of.
Keep calm. Count to 10. 1, 2, 3, 8, 9, 10.
Not happy, Jen!
Yep. Not happy. Linked. The tolls.
Like City Link.
City Link.
Yeah.
Yep.
What about him?
What they do, I got a bill. Ready for this? $360 in a day.
How?
In a day.
How?
I don't know. Because I only do 2 trips. Yeah. Really, I only use CityLink. Well, let me map my day. Home, City, Joe's Joint, which is in CityLink.
The coffee, eggs.
No, linked. You're going to be getting the call from me Monday
Why was it
sharp.
360?
$360.
Did
I
you
saw
go-
4, 5, 8 payments. 8 payments. It was. Ask Lauren. if
What?
she
As
had
in
it.
auto payment? So you've actually paid it?
Auto payments.
Oh, so you've actually paid it?
No way.
Jules. All right. You know what? Here.
No, I believe you. I believe you.
Yeah, I don't want to show the account.
I believe you. I do.
8 payment, but whatever it is to equal 360, because
Yeah.
I do $40 top ups, and they all came out. I was freaking out.
Oh, bloke. Hold on.
It's a scam.
Did they send you a message?
No,
And did you click a link?
no, never. I never ever do that. I never,
I've
ever,
always get them from Linked.
I never
I've been
click
them.
it.
That didn't
Never-
happen.
Never ever in my life. Yeah. Like I'd have no money in my account now.
Yeah, well, that's what people are saying. It could be a scam.
No, it's not. They
No.
they send me text message. No, don't worry about that.
All right, so they've made it. Yeah, Gavin Will in the comments says they'll give you a refund if they've made it blue. So
Thanks, Gav. No, but that's what pissed me off.
fair enough. It's actually a good one.
That's a good one, yeah.
Yeah.
I thought I wanted to get Jules going. Yeah, fuck the tolls.
Yeah. What else, Jules?
I actually don't understand how we're still paying.
Labour
tolls.
Party won in England over the weekend. Did you see that one?
Who?
The Labour Party beat the Conservatives first time in 12 years.
I don't understand why we're talking about politics.
No, we're
I'm
getting
trying to find
get off
Jules
this.
up. I'm trying to find
I,
her
you know,
up.
No, I know how to get Jules
412,
started.
412 seats out of 650 majority.
how much
412 out of 650.
is that? It.
Is that it?
Oh, Gav goes their refund straight away. That's good.
We just said that.
Yeah.
I just put
No,
that
you
up
see-
on
put it-
screen.
Didn't you put it again?
I just put it up on
Oh,
screen.
I thought he said it
You
twice.
watched me
Do you
do
listen
it.
or not?
Listen to this.
You watched
I
me
know how
do
to
it.
get Jules sparked.
Go.
I've got a kid at school,
Education system.
It's- and there was another teacher.
We had a real good rant after the pod last week between us, didn't we? Outside.
Yeah, we sat outside for 30 minutes,
Far out,
40
actually
minutes.
did. Yeah. Okay. What was the conversation?
if
If we went into
what
the
was it?
the conversation was about
if the listeners want if the listeners want if the listeners don't
Oh yeah.
if the listeners
Good, serious,
if-
man.
if the
Very
listeners-
I
serious.
did watch it.
if the listeners want us to do a different podcast where we'll change our voices and we'll wear masks so no one knows who the fuck we are, we could go on a serious rant.
Straight anonymous.
Shit. All right. I think that's it. Are we done? Nothing else to say?
Calm the baggers.
Let's hope we win next week, boys, because I don't want to do this sort of shit again. Thank you for joining us tonight, and we'll see you next week.
Up the baggers.
Go Blues.